I remember everything from that day. I remember that his sister called me and she asked me, "Mom, have you heard from Nathan?" And immediately I knew something was wrong.
It's been 7 years since Stephanie and Aaron Baldwin last heard from their son, Nathan Ratliff.
He was 22. He had a whole life in front of him.
They say he was out trick-or-treating with family and the next day, gone.
I feel mostly just sad. Sad that I don't know what more I could have done to help him. Sad that I don't know where he is.
Tonight, Kalamazoo police are asking for your help to find a missing man.
His mom says there's never been much attention around Nate's story.
Because Nathan wasn't famous. Nathan wasn't, the star athlete or the jock. He wasn't setting the world on fire. He was just my boy.
But she and Aaron have never stopped looking for answers.
I know he's not coming back, but I need something for it to be over.
And neither has the Kalamazoo detective on the case since day one, Joe Paul.
It's a case that sticks with me, and there's several days a week when I'm driving home and this case pops into my head, and then it's stuck. I'm just stuck thinking about it.
He calls Nate's case unique.
So a couple things that were left behind.
What's on this table is the only evidence detectives have. Nate's phone and a hard drive containing the contents of his laptop.
There's some background information with this case that made us think that there were a few different options for why Nate went missing.
He says they've considered he left the area to start a new life or even if he hurt himself.
We have reason to believe that Nate is no longer with us.
Ultimately, they decided Nate was murdered. But his body has never been found.
I dream about finding Nate, and I want to find him. I want to find Nate. I want to have that closure for his family and for us as well.
His parents, who live out of state, pleading with our community. They say someone knows something.
We don't care about justice. We don't care about vengeance. We don't care about retribution. We just want our son. We just want to know where he is.
In Kalamazoo.
I just want my boy.
Allie Jenner-John, News Channel 3. It's not a football and it's not a big game, but these throws from Comstock Park's varsity football team are going a long way for a community that needs it.
I've never seen anything like it. It's just terrible to think like what some of these families have had to go through overnight and into the morning. And we're trying to lighten their load.
They were supposed to meet at the school for some team bonding exercises ahead of their first football game. Instead, they piled in cars and came here to a neighborhood on Sandtrap and Scottview Drives, helping families clean up their homes, their yards, their neighborhood.
There's people that need help, so we dropped our plans. We cleared our schedule for the next several hours.
Just a few miles away in Alpine Township,
and this is all of our product.
Shay Miller is trying to help salvage what little is left of her parents' family-owned business.
I don't see enough for how many buildings were here.
Just yesterday, this was Backyard Fun Zone. Today, it's a pile of broken slides, basketball hoops, and trampolines.
It's hard to kind of see everything that my family's worked for this way. This was the first store, so that's why it's kind of hitting a little bit harder.
It'll take days of cleanup.
This is terrible.
But with a lot of teamwork and a quick break to catch a football game.
I think this will hit home when they put on the jersey and see Comstock Park across the front of it. They know the people that we represent.
This community says it's nothing they can't handle. Townhome apartments on Lockport Drive in Three Rivers. A quiet scene today. 3 decades ago, it was anything but. Three Rivers police say 19-year-old Kathy Swartz's boyfriend came home from work on December 2nd, 1988, to find Swartz's body beaten, strangled, and stabbed. Her 9-month-old daughter, Courtney, just feet away in the next room. Swartz's case growing cold over the last 35 years until today.
We have evidence from 35 years ago that was maintained for 35 years. That brought us to where we are today.
Three Rivers Police Department, with the help of Michigan State Police, announcing a breakthrough. MSP Detective First Lieutenant Chuck Christensen says DNA evidence narrowed their suspects down to 4 brothers. A messy crime scene left behind, including the suspect's bloody footprint.
There was an idea in the investigators' minds of who the likely suspect would have been based on history of each of the brothers. So the last one that was contacted was contacted yesterday.
53-year-old Robert Waters, a former Three Rivers resident, now a plumber, husband, father, and accused killer.
I think he had an idea at some point police would arrive and want to talk to him. It's hard to say what would be going through your mind after 35 years.
So hey!
A day long awaited for Three Rivers Police, Christensen, and Western Michigan University's cold case team.
Really, we knew this case was kind of coming to a close, so we started doing timelines and a list of people and kind of filling in the blanks that they didn't really have.
Rising senior Rachel Moore worked alongside state police this past semester.
I think the detectives kind of had an idea, but they really wouldn't say who. We kind of had an idea, so we didn't go too much into finding other suspects and things like that, but really just kind of finding things about this certain person that would 100% be, this is the guy. Oh my gosh.
Is it what you expect?
Not really.
Program director Dr. Ashlyn Kirsten beaming with pride as she talks about her students' work.
This one in particular, this entire room that we're in was filled with piles and piles of material from a case file, and they categorized it and knew this case like the back of their hand.
And now police believe a family is closer to justice than they've ever been.
I really hope that this knowledge of Kathy's case helps give her family members, particularly her daughter, who was present when the murder took place. I hope it gives young Courtney peace, just peace.
In Kalamazoo, Allie Jenner-John, News Channel 3. Assistant Special Agent Steve Verdau with the DEA drives the streets of Kalamazoo County. His team knows the area well in their fight against an epidemic. They're working to get fake pills and fentanyl off the streets.
I've seen a lot of different waves and trends, specifically in the drug trafficking and drug use and the problems that we have, and this is by far unprecedented.
The first city you hit going east from Chicago, Verdau says Kalamazoo is a drug hub, leading to raids and busts in our area and places they wouldn't show us. They didn't want to interfere with their investigations.
What's unique about it that I think is that in the past you could say, there's maybe one specific part of the community where, is affected more than the other, whether it be through socioeconomic or, status. But now that this is something it's just across the board.
He says what starts as abuse of prescription drugs has turned into a business, particularly for two cartels out of Mexico, Sinaloa and CJNG. With the help of local dealers, they're spreading lethal products throughout our community.
Now with the fentanyl, they've been able to create something. It's a relatively cheap to produce. They can produce this in vast quantities, and it's a very, very potent form. So they don't have to put much of it into a drug and still have the same effect, and users fulfill their need from it.
Some perspective. Last year, the DEA seized 350 million deadly doses of fentanyl nationally. The Detroit division seized 19 million. That's according to their public information officer, Brian McNeil. Michigan's population is roughly 10 million. To make matters worse, McNeil says 60% of fake pills today have a deadly dosage of fentanyl.
You are literally playing Russian roulette. If you aren't getting your pill from your doctor at a legitimate pharmacy, you have a 60% chance of getting a pill that could kill you.
McNeil says this addiction knows no demographic.
People think of the person lying down in the streets who's strung out. It's the star athlete. It's the straight A student. It's the guy coming home from work. It's the mom on her way to work. These drugs know no bounds, and they're literally everywhere.
Verdau says social media plays a key role in feeding this deadly habit.
People now, they can order this over the internet or again through the dark web and literally have it delivered to their door.
In Michigan last year, he says there were over 2,000 deaths from opioids.
Those numbers are just astounding.
The Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety, Michigan State Police posts, and local pharmacies have drop boxes where you can dispose of unwanted pills safely and anonymously. In Kalamazoo, Allie Jenner-John, News Channel 3.
Lockdown, lockdown, lockdown.
When students at Lawton Community Schools hear this noise,
Lockdown.
they know exactly what to do. It's a small device, but as these second graders have learned, it's what could keep them safe from a big threat.
What happened?
Miss Lycan didn't hear it at first, so all of us rushed to the door and got there, and I pulled the boot out and put it in the door.
And you knew exactly what to do. Within 5 to 10 seconds, you all had the boot put in, we had the lights off, you were laying on the floor. We were all nice and safe, weren't we?
Superintendent Ben Banfield says it's the district's newest safety system to protect kids from threats to schools across the country.
This is a scary thing. It breaks my heart that we even have to do these things, and this is an investment the district is making that I hope we never have to use.
Administration says if anyone senses a threat, they're trained to go to this box, take out this boot, and place it in front of the door, telling the whole school to go into lockdown.
Lockdown will occur in 3, 2, 1.
We got to participate in a drill today at the high school. Within 3 seconds of lifting the boot, every classroom's box went off.
Lockdown.
This gives us a lot of information.
Elementary school principal Heather Olson says the room where the threat was first found will be sent to staff's iPads.
So that we can immediately have important information to be able to identify where and what is happening.
Giving police a heads up on where to go.
I feel great about it. I think our students and the staff are as safe as they can be. I think awareness and speed is the biggest thing that in emergency situation that we can have, and awareness and speed is what the system provides.
And putting minds young and old a little more at ease.